Good morning, my loves. Happy Wednesday. We're 2 days closer to the weekend, so just hang in there. We're almost there. It's another beautiful day here at the lake. Let's see if I can do this. The sun is just starting to come up. Finn is in front of me at his post at the window watching the ducks and the geese. It's a good thing for him to do. It's a nice little morning project to calm his butt down. He's been a little rowdy. So, yesterday, the video was broken children in adult bodies. That got, I just gotta say, I gotta stop for a second. I am really irritated with YouTube. If somebody watches my videos on YouTube, go to the YouTube channel and watch the videos, it will count. It will show that's how many people saw the video. If you go on my social media, which is LinkedIn or either of my Facebook accounts, it won't show. It will show on the social media app, but it will not reflect back on YouTube, and that's irritating as heck. So never go by what the YouTube count says. I've learned that the hard way. I got a great response on yesterday's video, and I got a lot of direct messages, got a few phone calls from people that I knew. It was very interesting how it really struck a chord, and I knew it would. So today we're going a little bit deeper because we're going to do a bit of a series for the rest of the week on this. Today we're talking about broken children in adult bodies, stolen childhood. Now, when I say stolen childhood, what comes to mind? In your little world, what comes to mind? For some people, it's kids who work on farms, because if you work on a farm, you know somebody that has a farm, you work 24/7, and if you're a part of the farm family, hey, that's part of your life. But kids on farms do have a wonderful childhood. They get to play, they get to fish, they get to hunt, they get to do all kinds of things. So don't, for the families that I know, and I know a lot of farm families coming from the Midwest, yeah, farm life is not necessarily a bad life. What comes to mind for me are children who have parents, caregivers, could be grandparents, whomever they're being raised by, that adult is always drunk, passed out, sick. Maybe they have a chronic illness, and the child's job is to take care of that adult. The roles are reversed. The adult has become the child, and the child has become the adult. Mommy's too sick to cook you breakfast or dinner. Daddy's too sick to go to work. You have to have a paper route. That's a stolen childhood. Now, I am not saying that families that don't have someone that's chronically ill, they don't have to all work together. Of course they do, absolutely. But I am talking, and I'm kind of blunt on stuff. I'm a straight shooter. Just plain dang lazy parenting, where the parents are too self-absorbed in their own addictions to deal with life. And so they want the kids to do it for them. They want the oldest child to raise the siblings while they're out partying, while they're gone for 2 or 3 days. And I see this. While they're off in rehab, while they're in jail. Don't tell anybody, because you don't want to go into foster care. You don't want to go into the system. You keep this between us. And it happens more than you realize. It's not fair. And yes, you have kids who are sexually abused, physically abused, emotionally abused, verbally abused. The list goes on. And that does steal your childhood. Anytime you have to live in a state of fear and anxiety, that's stealing your childhood. When you go to bed at night as an adult, what happens when you go to bed? You turn off the light. You might turn on some white noise, depending on, and a fan or whatever, but you go to bed and you settle down and you snuggle under and you relax. For many children, that's when they go on high alert. They're waiting for that footstep. They're waiting to hear those boards creak. They're waiting to hear the door, to see the shadow under their door, because they know what's coming next. And there's nothing they can do to stop it. They live in panic. They live in fear. If they speak up, they've been threatened. They're terrified. That's no way to live a life. It's not a childhood. And Many people don't realize. And I want you to think back to, I want you to stop and think back on your own childhood. Kids growing up in a toxic environment experience PTSD. It's their war zone. Because people think of PTSD and they think of veterans, soldiers, the military, law enforcement. And God knows I have tons. I just talked to one of my first clients I ever had. This is in the UK. Called me the other day just to touch base. Hadn't talked to him for several months. Gosh, it's been a client. I'm trying to think. Over 10 years, well over 10 years. He was in law enforcement. He was in a riot. He suffered horrific injuries and abuse, horrific PTSD, complex PTSD. It was awful. And he called just to check in and say, hey, I'm doing great. I appreciate you. I watch your videos still. And that was wonderful. But PTSD can hit anybody, anywhere, anytime. You don't have to be an adult. You don't have to be a soldier. You don't have to be a police officer or a firefighter. You can be 3 years old, living in a house of violence, living in a house of alcoholics and drug addicts. That's their own war zone. Knowing that you could be beaten up anytime, seeing horrible things happen to your pets, to your parents, not knowing when the police are going to come and carry mommy and daddy off, or if mommy and daddy are even coming home. Are you going to eat today? Are you going to have clean clothes? What if you're 5 years old and you're taking care of a younger sibling and you don't have any more diapers? What do? Mom said not to tell anybody. That's how a lot of kids live. The idea of they look outside and they see kids playing, but yeah, that's not going to happen to them. There are families that are so, I'm trying to use the right words here, academically motivated, okay? They want their child to be a genius, just truly brilliant. And they will, and I have talked to so many parents about this, you have time to play when you're an adult. I want you to, focus on the books right now. Focus on football. Focus on this. Focus on your music, whatever it is. Kids need a balance. Let your child be a child. You're only a child once. And I know in some families, this is how the adults were raised, and this is how they want their kids raised, because they want their kids to get into the best Ivy League school that's out there. Well, that's all fine, well, and good. But a well-rounded child is what we need. Not a child that can recite the periodic table at the age of 5. Let your child be a child. Let them go to the park. Let them go to sleepovers. Let them go to birthday parties. Let them have birthday parties. Take them bowling. Have family night, game night. Let your child run and play. And above all, let your child feel safe and loved and heard and valued. Because if they're not, that rolls back on you. Now, my question to you, my love. Finn is trying to help. He's not helping, but he thinks he is. My question to you is, was your childhood stolen? Were you so busy raising your siblings, you didn't have much of a childhood? Finn is just really, really wanting the phone. It's not going to happen. But were you so busy taking care of the house, you didn't have a childhood? If you're in a family, you have to act as a family. Mom and dad may work, a little longer hours, but they're going to be home by 6. So from after school to 6, you have to look after your siblings. That's okay. That's okay. But a 5-year-old shouldn't have to start dinner, do the laundry, look after the siblings, so that mommy can come home and go to bed, so that daddy can go out drinking with the guys. No. I don't think so. Stolen childhoods. Because when this starts to happen, by the time that child is 14, 12, 13, They're resentful as hell. They want out, and they're going to get out, and they may never look back. I know my mom, not my biological mom, but my mom that raised me. My mom, God bless her. Lena was the oldest of, I want to say 5 kids, and one died. And it was just sad because her dad worked in the oil, my grandfather, Willie, worked in the oil fields. That's hard work, long work. He's not home, he's out working. And her mom caroused. That's the nice way of putting it. And my mom was left to raise her siblings. And they were quite a handful. And this was back, let's see, Mom was born in the 20s. So this was years ago. And it was no childhood. She did not have a childhood. She was too busy changing diapers and, cooking and taking care of the house. And then her mom would come home and, all hours and maybe drunk, maybe mad. Then her dad would come home, and then there would be fighting, and it was awful. So when she was, I want to say 15, she decided, I'm out of here. She got married. Way too young. By the time she was 16, she had had my half-sister. A year later, she had my half-brother. To escape. And she just went to a different level of hell, being a teen mom in a bad marriage. But she was just trying to escape. She never had a childhood. Does that ring any bells with anybody? A lot of people do that. When they are old enough, they just leave. They say, I am done. Y'all are on your own. I've had enough. They get fed up. They can't do it anymore. Think about balance. We all need balance. We all need love. We all need structure. We need to feel safe and loved and heard and valued. Broken children and adult bodies, stolen childhoods. Any thoughts?